A few days ago, Ukrainian President Zelensky was humiliated at the White House by U.S. President Trump and Vice President Vance. The scheduled signing fell apart, turning the event into an international spectacle. This incident will likely go down in history as a landmark dispute. Taking this as a starting point, I want to share an important insight, supported by a recent study. Imagine your workplace has a leader named Richard. A new colleague, Jack, joins his department. Despite being young, Jack is highly capable, full of fresh ideas, and has contributed creatively to multiple projects. His colleagues admire him. But Richard? He's unimpressed. Richard acknowledges that Jack has ideas but claims he lacks experience and that his ideas are impractical, bound to fail sooner or later. He publicly criticizes Jack, frequently undermining his abilities and nitpicking his work. During project presentations, Richard downplays Jack's contributions, sometimes even ignoring them entirely. When questioned, Richard insists it's for Jack's own good. Young people need to be held to high standards. Do you agree with Richard's reasoning? Is his suppression of Jack a form of constructive adversity meant to help Jack grow? Should Jack be grateful? Or is Richard simply a strong-willed leader with an assertive personality? Before revealing what research has found, let's compare this scenario to another department led by Peter. Like Jack, a young and energetic employee. Let's call him Harry. Joins Peter's team. However, Peter takes a completely different approach. He actively communicates with Harry, praises him in public, and even promotes him. He provides Harry with resources and recommends him to senior leadership to secure better opportunities. If Richard's treatment of Jack is considered strict but caring, would Peter's support for Harry be deemed overindulgence? You've probably encountered people like Richard, constantly claiming their harshness is for the good of young people when, in reality, it's about protecting themselves. They may not even realize it, because their actions, strictly speaking, are irrational and ultimately self-defeating. Their behavior stems from deep-seated insecurity about their own status. A recent study by Adam Galinsky, a professor at Columbia Business School, published in January 2025, explores a key question. Under what circumstances are people willing to share their status, and what are the consequences of doing so? The paper examines 17 studies, including laboratory experiments, real-world observations, and data analysis. One lab experiment divided participants into two groups and asked them to imagine themselves in a workplace setting. One group was told their status in the company was secure, respected by their boss and colleagues. The other group was told their position was precarious, at risk of demotion or even being fired. Then, the researchers presented them with a scenario. A client had just praised them. How would they respond? Would they attribute their success to their own abilities, or would they acknowledge their colleagues' contributions? Another study analyzed real-life behavior in the reality TV show Survivor, a competition where contestants must endure harsh conditions. Before being eliminated, contestants deliver a farewell speech. The researchers examined who expressed gratitude toward their teammates and who focused solely on their own achievements. Across 17 different scenarios, two key conclusions emerged. 1. People with a strong sense of security in their status are more willing to share credit. They acknowledge teamwork and elevate others. In contrast, those who feel insecure about their status hoard recognition, refuse to share credit, and may even undermine others. 2. Those who share credit are perceived as having higher status by observers. Conversely, those who refuse to share or actively suppress others see their status diminish. For Survivor, the researchers uploaded contestants' farewell speeches online and invited thousands of viewers to rate them. The result? Contestants who expressed gratitude and acknowledged their teammates received the highest status ratings. In other words, leaders like Peter naturally elevate their own status by uplifting others, while those like Richard, who undermine others to appear superior, ultimately damage their own reputation. Galinsky calls this the vicious cycle of insecurity. This finding likely resonates with you. People who constantly try to project dominance often do so out of deep insecurity. What we call, tough on the outside, weak on the inside. In contrast, those who are genuinely confident tend to be humble and generous. But if insecure people undermine others at their own expense, why do they persist? Galinsky suggests that anxiety blinds them. When people feel insecure, their focus narrows. They lose perspective, fixating solely on protecting their status. Their mindset becomes purely defensive, preventing them from objectively evaluating their own behavior. This aligns with Adler's overcompensation theory, which states that, when people feel their status is threatened, they exaggerate their strengths, essentially masking deep insecurity with excessive displays of confidence. As we've previously discussed, power is something you fight for, but status is something others grant you. Modern society values prestige-based status over dominance-based status, and prestige comes from providing value to others. Recognizing others' contributions is itself a form of social contribution, one that raises your own status. To break the vicious cycle of insecurity, the solution is simple. Even when you feel anxious and uncertain, commit to doing the right thing. Acknowledge others, support them. This is the only way to enter a virtuous cycle. Unfortunately, insecure individuals are everywhere. David Yeager's book, 10 to 25, The Science of Motivating Young People, discusses similar dynamics in high schools. The worst bullies are not the lowest status students or the highest. They're the ones in the middle, desperately clinging to their fragile position. Their insecurity drives them to push others down, unknowingly making themselves even less respected. A lack of security breeds zero-sum thinking. The belief that for oneself to win, others must lose. Insecure individuals constantly compete, manipulate, and sabotage. When they gain leadership positions, they tend to centralize power and control. They obsess over loyalty, resist delegation, and micromanage everything. If things go wrong, they blame subordinates. If things go well, they take all the credit. This creates a toxic environment where employees focus on appeasing their superiors rather than innovating or speaking honestly. Such organizations inevitably stagnate. The Trump administration is a textbook example. The White House is now filled with sycophants. No one dares challenge Trump, even when he makes reckless statements or policy mistakes. Look at what happened a few days ago. Initially, the discussions were going well, and Zelensky was prepared to sign the agreement. As usual, Trump wanted to dominate the conversation to boost his own image, which was entirely expected. He has a narcissistic personality and often boasts about being able to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict within 24 hours. Moreover, he holds grudges and never forgets a slight. Since Zelensky had previously maintained good relations with Biden, assisting his campaign and refusing to cooperate in providing so-called evidence of Biden family corruption, Trump was eager to put him in his place. Still, at least he was willing to sign the agreement. What was truly disgraceful, however, was the behavior of Vice President Vance. If it weren't for Vance fueling the fire, the negotiations wouldn't have collapsed. According to media reports, during the meeting, Vance interrupted Zelensky at least 9 times, demanding that he express gratitude toward Trump. You should say thank you. Have you said thank you even once? Why aren't you expressing gratitude to our president? Vance's behavior is a textbook example of insecurity. Having just turned 40, he was elected to the Senate in 2022 with no prior political experience, let alone any leadership role in international affairs. He is a complete newcomer to power, desperate to prove his loyalty and competence. This led him to overcompensate. On one hand, he exaggerated his defense of Trump's authority, practically crying out, "Why don't you respect our president?" His behavior bordered on sycophantic zeal. On the other hand, he aggressively attacked Zelensky. If you carefully observe Vance's body language, you'll notice extreme nervousness beneath the surface. In contrast, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, a seasoned politician, remained composed, sitting upright and silent throughout the meeting. Overcompensating for insecurity turns people into clowns. No matter how much chaos Trump creates, he still has a solid base of populist support. But Vance, from this moment forward, has become a liability. The more desperately one tries to prove their strength, the more they expose their inner weakness. True signals of high status are never performed deliberately. People with a strong sense of security are emotionally stable, with low neurotic tendencies. They accept themselves, leading to healthy self-esteem. They trust others' intentions and reject zero-sum thinking, maintaining a positive outlook on life. They are independent, with a strong sense of internal control, so they do not seek to control others. They respect and uplift those around them, treating people with humility. Perhaps the most ridiculous question ever asked in the White House was during this meeting, when a reporter asked Zelensky, "Why aren't you wearing a suit? Do you not own one?" In contrast, when King Charles III recently met Zelensky, who has refused to wear a suit since the war began, he remained courteous and respectful. Charles exudes confidence and has no anxiety about his own status. I hope this discussion helps you approach life with more ease and generosity. Generosity is not just a virtue. It is a rational choice. It ultimately works in your favor by elevating your status. But perhaps the deeper lesson here is that when you find yourself trapped in anxiety, spinning in circles, you must impose a discipline upon yourself. Step out of it. No matter how overwhelmed you feel, you must still do the right thing. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.